I have a question on benchmarking cost per head based on the citizens of the state of Arkansas. Do you have any numbers that would say 20 years ago, 10 years ago, you were spending X number of dollars per taxpayer, Arkansas taxpayer, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, and now versus Arkansas tax dollars versus federal dollars?
Right. I have nothing like that with me, and I'm not sure we've generated, I'm sure that's been generated at some point in time. I've heard a similar question asked in committee meetings, so I'm sure that number's been generated for the legislature at some point. I wouldn't even take a shot in the dark.
I mean, I'm curious to know, because essentially you guys are being funded through deficit dollars.
Yes.
What's happening.
Right.
And I'm wondering, while what you guys do is a very good service, we still have to pay for that service.
Absolutely.
If we're only spending $1.5 billion or so of Arkansas tax dollars.
Right.
There's something very wrong with this.
Yeah, I'm certainly not going to debate that. No, I don't know. I'm sure that number's been generated. I may have been a year or two old by now, but I'm sure it's out there. Actually, probably Representative Meeks could probably find that number quicker than I could, but I can try to get that for him if he requests. Yes, sir.
May be wrong.
Okay.
But from what you explained to us here, there's a lot of salaries to be paid.
Yes, ma'am.
The system is very inefficient. You have so much that is not being done for the people. But you're paying all these salaries, and the people that need the help don't get it. So what you're telling me here is, I was listening to it, you pay out a lot of salaries, and you just mentioned the people are not being helped because this computer is with this computer and here and there. That is all, the people are not being helped. Is there a way it could be simpler, made simpler than what it is?
Yes, ma'am. That's where we go right back to this slide right here that shows what we've done, because there's a systemic problem. That's why I mentioned there's a problem with the system. The DCFS worker out there trying to make those decisions whether to take the child, not take the child, the person entering information into a computer shouldn't have to work with two computers. These are all problems that start at the top. And I'm one of these people now at the top. But almost every person that I'm pointing at up here is pretty dang new. And I'm telling you, there's a very positive attitude in that office I did not expect. I did not expect to walk in there and interview with Cindy Gillespie and be excited about going to work for Department of Human Services. Quite honestly, I had another job coming up next year that I was pretty excited about doing. I've been wanting to do for probably the last 30 years. And I was excited about that, and she convinced me instead to come to Department of Human Services because this lady's got good things going on. We're fixing a broken system. And when that systemic problem goes away, we do exit interviews with people that quit. Sure, almost everyone says, more money, I would stay, but that's not the main reason. Most of them will say, I can't see a light at the end of the tunnel. We're going to give them that light at the end of the tunnel. We're going to drop that turnover, and then we can be a whole lot more efficient. Remember my statement I said? I wish I could remember it verbatim. I can't remember who said it in that committee. The cost savings is not just less money. It's increasing the efficiencies and the effectiveness of the agency. And that's what we're doing. And it's happening.
Can you go back in a year and tell us how much of
Love to.
improvement you have made?
I hope I'm still employed in a year with this agency.
What kind of cuts in staffing and what kind of cuts in staffing and overall budget do you anticipate in David?
Sure. That's kind of up to them as to what we anticipate. I know that we are presenting a budget. We presented a budget to the governor's office, which he's already asked us for a free budget. Then we will give the legislature our idea for a budget in January, or actually in October, in budget hearings. And I want to say, off the top of my head, the cut is close to $200 million. That's a significant amount of money. That's state money. That's not. I'm not talking about cutting in federal funds because they send us money if we want it or not. I'm talking about state money.
Okay, well that'll offset the $300 million extra costs, right?
Well, yeah. And the other thing, I mean, and David, that you can hear this too. Over the last however many budget cycles, DHS has been shored up with one-time money, whether it's general improvement fund money, whether it's trust fund money, whether it's this with the soda pop tax and all that. We're also trying to get ourselves off of, and we hope to be able to give a budget where we no longer take one-time money. It's all flat, here it is. Here's the money's coming out of state general fund. There's no one-time money. We can go use that for projects other than Department of Human Services. And that's yet to be seen, but that's what we're proposing.
Guys, they're doing what you guys have demanded for years. They're doing what the legislature has pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed for the last several years when the Republicans took over from the legislature, that we want more accountability, that we were oversight, why are you spending money on this? Why are you spending money on that? They are actually now proactively, without us even having to do anything, proactively going after these certain things. One of the things that wasn't in this particular presentation, I think it was another presentation, was they were looking at vendor contracts that they're actually doing. And I think the number was about 50 million or something like that, in redoing the contracts, and also putting clause in there that if you don't deliver on what you're doing, we're going to come after you. Whereas before, that wasn't happening. That's why you had a $120 million system, and we couldn't go recruit the money, or most of the money, when they didn't do the job. Well, that is actually changing, and that's under Director Gillespie's leadership, and that is under, Governor Asa Hutchinson's leadership, that we are demanding more accountability from what they're actually doing. And so we're seeing now the fruition, and now it's up to us as the legislature to hold them accountable to actually make sure that these things actually do happen. And I don't think we'll have much pushing that we have to do, because they're doing it really, a lot of it on their own.
We're under conservative leadership inside the organization, and we want to do this. Thank you, David, you're right. We don't want to go to the legislature and be told you're not conservative enough. We want to say, here's what we're doing, here's the mistakes we've made, here's what we're doing to fix it.
I think I may have not been listening to you when you said a $200 million reduction. That's Arkansas money, and how much of this $8.5 billion is Arkansas money?
Oh, the 8 we can go back to that slide real quick.
1.5.
It's like 8.5, I think it's.
6.5.
Common Core,
There we
man.
go. 86 billion annual budget, 6.5 billion is federal funding. Arkansas Medicaid accounts for 7.6 billion of the overall budget. So 6 billion is federal funding.
2 million, okay.
So, like I said, think about this just for a minute, and I think I probably got to get going here pretty quick. Okay. If we're not trying to fix things, if we weren't trying to do it conservatively, do you think somebody from the leadership of Department of Human Services come here and stand in front of you and give you a report? I'm proud of what we're doing.